Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Reese's Random Reviews. I am Reese and I'm about to give you a random review. Okay, so today's episode I'm going to be talking about is particularly on remakes, but only on one special remake. But let me get into the introduction. So, have you noticed in many Hollywood generations now that we are just literally pretty much living on remakes? Like, Hollywood is just throwing remake after remake after remake after remake. And to be honest, we're getting kind of sick of it now. I mean, it is just remake after remake. Although there are some good remakes that have come out, which have been fantastic. However, today I'm going to be talking about one particular remake that doesn't really get mentioned very often. I'm talking about Cape Fear, the Martin Scorsese, Robert De Niro version. That's the remake. So you're probably thinking, why am I talking about Cape Fear? Well, the reason I wanted to is because A, it's one of my favourite films of all time. It's definitely in my top 10. B, I've always wanted to do a random review on it. C, I think it deserves a mention. And D, well, there isn't a D because the A, B and C were so great. The original was made in 1962, but the remake was made in 1991. But I'm going to talk about why Cape Fear is pretty much the best remake film I've ever seen. Now, I will admit, I have seen the remake first before I saw the original, but I saw the remake when I was about, how old was I? 16, 17 when I first watched it. And I'm not going to lie, it actually scared me a lot. It was just such a really spooky, suspenseful film. The tone of it is really dark, but I just fell in love with this film instantly. And then of course, after seeing that, I had to watch the original, and which I did like. Unfortunately, I just didn't love it as much as the remake. And that was really the first time ever that I've actually done that, because there are more original films that I love more than the actual remakes. But the remake of Cape Fear is actually better for many reasons. Number one, the performances, of course, are exceptionally better. Exceptionally better? Is that the correct word? Exceptionally better? The performances are much better, let's just say that. You know, Robert De Niro plays a really scary villain, much scarier than the 1962 version. You know, he's a complete psycho, and he just doesn't let anyone get in his way, and he will kill people if he has to. But he's very good at just master of manipulating people, especially when he's going after Nick Nolte's character. Nick Nolte as Sam Bowden was fantastic. I thought he was brilliant in this movie. He gave out a fantastic performance. I've always been a fan of Nick Nolte since I also watched him in 48 Hours and Over the Hedge as the bear. You know, he's got a really fantastic grisly voice as well. And when he shouts, it actually makes me laugh. Also, this was like sort of like the big debut for Juliette Lewis. I think she'd done some other projects before she'd done Cape Fear, but that was actually like her first big major break. Which got her into like Hollywood and everything like that, and that's how she became more recognised. And you know, it was just incredible. All the performances were so suspenseful and incredible, and it really kept you on edge, and it really made you worry about these characters because they're getting stalked by a complete dangerous man. And they tried to come up with all these ways of trying to get rid of him, or trying to, you know, by law, trying to make sure that he doesn't do anything. But he always manages to be one step ahead of them each time. It gets really sinister mostly near the end when they're on the boat, and you know, and he tries to go after Sam and the daughter and the mum, and then obviously, you know, the storm hits through and we don't know who's going to live or who's going to die. It is honestly really amazing. What I love about Cape Fear the most is its cinematography. The colours in this film and basically just how it looks is incredible. Even though they use a lot of fake backgrounds like thunderstorms and clouds and stuff like that, I actually like how they do that because it really matches the tone of this movie, and it really keeps you in suspense of what's going to happen next. You know, what's Max Cady going to do with these characters, and is he in the house? Is he not in the house? Is he outside watching them? We have no idea. But that's what I love about this film. It really keeps you hooked onto what you want to know is going to happen next, and that's what I love about it. Also, what I love about Cape Fear as well is the writing, the dialogue and the direction that this film is taking. Martin Scorsese made this film his own. He doesn't at all try to, at any attempt, really copy the original. That's what makes it so brilliant. But I mean, it has a bit of the spirit of the original. Like some of the backgrounds are quite similar, and some of the tone feels quite similar to the original. But the remake is just its own thing. And Martin Scorsese has made a fantastic film with this like original concept of his idea. But what's so good as well is that it is quite different to some of the actual films that he's done, like Goodfellas or Casino or Raging Bull, which are mostly like big gangster blockbusters. This is literally a sort of stalking, dangerous guy with a normal family movie. But it then turns into big action and craziness begins to happen. And that's what I love about it. It's quite original from Martin Scorsese's other type of work. And that's what I think is brilliant. But of course, along with Martin Scorsese's work, it is very violent and it can be very like dangerous and scary to watch at times. So it's very suspenseful. But the film is just incredible. And I think as a remake, it done fantastically well for itself, and I love this movie. I love it so much. I only recently just watched it after ages of not seeing it, and I just keep remembering how fantastic it is. But honestly, I could never get bored of watching Cape Fear, because that is how much I think it's a fantastic film. But anyway, let me hear about what your thoughts are. Do you think Cape Fear is a fantastic remake? Do you think the original's better? Or what's your favourite remade film? Like, what is your favourite film that you think a remake is better than the original? Comment below and let me know, guys. Don't forget, there are more videos on their way, I promise you. More random reviews and more film projects on the way, so do keep an eye out. And I am Reese, and I have just given you another random review.